vicious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Today, we have another win to talk about. Well, a draw, but one on penalties. And we are going to look ahead as well to the weekend. We go to Crewe Alexandra again, less than a month after we went here for the pizza trophy. But we'll cover all this in the next hour or so. So let's introduce who we have. We have Mick with us, back on his old laptop, so everything looks normal.
I've got a big smile on my face as a result.
Nice to have you with us, Michael. And we also have Danny with us again. Thank you for joining us, Danny.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Good, nice to have you with us. And Will's back with us. Thank you for joining us, Will.
Hello.
So I thought we'd start today with having the events on social media today with our quick serious chat. I don't know if many people have seen the issue with former footballer Kevin McNaughton. If you haven't been on Twitter, so you will. Basically, some issues with some mental health issues, and he highlighted the issue of people needing help for mental health problems. If you need help, things such as that, and we wanted to shine a light on it as well as best we can. We send best wishes to Kevin and all his family as well. But I thought we would today. We're going on. If you watch on YouTube, we have put some websites and phone numbers. If you need any help, these are the places you can go for them. Also, we'll tweet it out on our Twitter account and Facebook account. So if you feel like you are needing help, just reach out. And I hope you're all doing very well. I genuinely mean that. So let's move on to the football. Rotherham United are in a semi-final, and we don't get to say that very often. It was a longish night on Tuesday as Cambridge came to town and did another difficult performance on us. Danny, they're a good old side, Cambridge, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They have given us 3 very good games, which you have to respect them for. They've I think the away performance at the Abbey Stadium was probably their better one, and maybe matched us up a lot better. But they made a few changes. They had a bench more or less full of all their youth players, so I'm not surprised they didn't make a sub in normal time. But no, it were a good game of football. They probed throughout the first half and they found a way through. And then we were ever so slightly the better side second half in terms of creating chances, and we got through on penalties. For the third time this season, we have had penalties. I don't care what Paul Warne says about penalty shootouts being good for the fans. When you've had 3 in one season, your heart starts to feel it. And by the time it gets to the 7th penalty, you are virtually laid out on the chairs. It's like, no, I can't take this anymore. But no, we're through. We're in a semi-final. I think it's the equivalent of the Northern final in old money, isn't it? Yes. This current semi-final. So that's the first time since 2009 we've got this far. So yeah, hopefully we can go one better and get to the final. So I hope it's a good draw.
Yeah, so for anybody, let's just pick up the sort of housekeeping for the draw. The draw will be after the tea time kickoff on Saturday, so probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that is when we expect it to be. We'll play Sutton, Wigan or Hartlepool. So an all-Northern semi-final. Thankfully, we can beat the under-21s, which is nice to get them out of the way. And also, apparently, they'll all be on telly. Both semi-finals will be on telly in early March. We commence the 7th of March. And then the final, if we get there, will be April 3rd. I think it will. The Pompey game will miss. Will get changed. Well, the first half is where all the action happened. Let's start with the first goal. It was Wes Harding's first ever competitive goal in senior football. I'll talk about the fact it were a foul from Wiglugg in a minute, but Wes Harding has been brilliant for 2 years. And I know his job is not to score goals, but it's great to see him finally get one.
Yeah, amazing, and great to hear from the pressers that he actually didn't know that he needed to celebrate. So lovely little touch. Yeah, fully deserved. He's been Mr. Consistent. I think BBC Radio Sheffield have called him throughout the week, and can't disagree with that. I thought he were pretty decent on Tuesday night. One of our better players overall, and deserved the goal. I'll be honest. I actually thought Sadlier had scored up until probably 10 minutes later. So there we go. That's probably on me. But yeah, congrats to Wes. Hopefully there's a few more of those coming.
It was good as well, not just the goal, Mick, but 2 games in a row. Dan Will just mentioned it there. He was superb on Saturday, and he was excellent again on Tuesday in a different position, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll you put him where you want, and he'll just do you a job, won't he? And it's great. I'm really pleased for him. Really pleased for him that he's kind of broke that duck. And like you said, from his last 2 performances, both in the league and then in this pizza trophy, it's fully deserved. It's fully deserved. He's a hell of a player. He really is. And the thing about him is, I think for me, if he played consistently in one position, he'd improve even more. We've got with Wes Harding at the moment. We've got a bit of a touch of this sort of Ben Wiles Championship season situation, where he's proved himself a reasonable utility player. So he's been moved about. If he ever settles in a position or is allowed to settle in a position, he'll go from strength to strength for me. But yeah, it's great to see him score. Really pleased.
A few comments. Philip Rose is with us evening. And we also have Bazza with us. Mark Gambles is with us. Evening, fellas, here for a slice of the action from the other night. Nice for the lads to win on pens. Was a nice topping for the night. Hashtag pizza cup puns. And I am all here for that. We talked on last week, Danny, about Michael Smith's goal potentially being a foul. This one on Tuesday, for me, was a foul. I thought Will Grigg pushed somebody else into somebody else, and you come away with the ball, but ref's not getting, so who cares?
I think it was more the theatrics of the other player, because he sort of, granted, Will Grigg does give him a polite shove, I'll give him that, but it's the player sort of gets tangled up in his own player and then goes to ground, so that's obviously what the referee sees. So he's gone, no, that's not a foul. And then Griggy's pulled it back and Harding's fired low under the keeper and scored. So, I mean, we might have got a little bit of luck getting the last 2 goals in. I don't think Smithy's was a foul, though. But Grigg sort of on the fence with it. But if the ref's not giving it, he's not giving it. So that's why I don't think it's a foul. And it's, I think, is it Will Grigg's first assist of the season? Potentially.
It might be.
But we'll have to double check that. But at least we now know that Will Grigg can contribute to goals and he doesn't necessarily have to score them all the time. Because it is a really clever pull back from him. Because like they said on commentary, sometimes strikers just pull the trigger from there and try and curl it in the far corner. But he's had the sight of Wes, so he's played it across the goal. Sadly, he's obviously heard some sort of shout from Wes and left it. And he's fired it in. And yeah, like we said before, it's a great thing for Wes to get his first goal. And hopefully he gets more in the league as well, because he's come close a couple times before, both in the Championship and League One. So hopefully the luck befalls him a bit better and he actually gets his first league goal, because then he can get the little one on his Wikipedia page, can't he? So his Rotherham appearances.
Yeah. According to Transfer Market, it is Will Grigg's first assist for the Millers. So it does all his best work in Pizza Trophy. So it's good that we're still in it, really.
Yeah.
It was a strange performance, though, Will, because I thought first 20 minutes or so, I thought we were good. I don't think we were amazing, but I thought we were pretty good. And then whether we allowed Cambridge to go into the game or whether they just took control of it a little bit, the second half of the first half sort of got away from us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that first 20 minutes, they sustained quite a lot of pressure. And I think there were always going to be a point in the game whereby, and I think Mark Bonner spoke about in his post-match interview, actually, that if you ride out the storm, you're going to get opportunities along the way somewhere. So thought they rode out the storm pretty well in the end. There was one where I think they put about 4 blocks in a row, which was heroic defending. And then I'm sure we're going to come on to the goal, but a wonderfully worked goal from their perspective. A little bit disappointing from a defensive point of view. I think from our end, I'm not sure where how our left-hand side of the pitch was, but there we go. But yeah, I mean, they're no mugs. They came here off the back of 5 wins in a row, and they were set up again to cause a lot of issues. And I thought on the night they really did that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure this won't be the last bit of praise we're giving, but we're going to give more praise to Cambridge. I think we praised Cambridge more than any other team this season on this podcast, except ours, obviously. I really like him. There's a lot I like about Cambridge. I like the way they set up. I like the manager. I like the way he speaks. There's a lot to like about it. And we talked about coming out of the stadium on Tuesday that if they can keep roughly the same group of players together and potentially strengthen it in the summer, they could be in for a decent shout playoffs next season because they are a good outfit.
I think we said it. I don't know if I said it on last podcast or whether I said it to you personally when we were at game. For me, they're one of the best sides I think we've played this season. You know, as a complete package, I think they've caused us more problems than anybody else, and they've been more difficult to break down than anybody else. You know, assuming that the ball's in play for more than half an hour. You know, they are a very, very good side. And it's just a good story, isn't it? It's a great story with the manager and how he's come to be the manager and the work that he's clearly had to put in to get to where he is now, and the work and the commitment. And it's work and commitment for that club, you know. So that kind of adds a little bit more into the mix there as well. I really like him. And I'm with you. I think next season, particularly if they're able to add to the squad, they're going to be a dangerous outfit, without a doubt. Very, very good. Really impressed with them.
Yeah. I think the natural issue for Cambridge will probably be they're having an unbelievable season this season, and on a budget level, are they going to be able to compete and keep those amazing players? So, I mean, fingers crossed we might be in the market at some point for a few of those players. I really like Nibs. I thought he had a really good night on the night, and he's had 3 good games against us and a really good January so far. So, you know, personally, I'd love to see Nibs at the New York at some point. I don't know whether that'd be a possibility.
Never know. We never know. On the goal, Danny, it was a very good goal. They did that. They played through the press a little bit, and they pulled Icky out of position, which left us a bit exposed. And let's start with giving Cambridge the credit. It was a very nice goal.
Yeah, it was. It was a very well taken strike. The good dummy from one of their players teeing up the long distance strike. Fair play on that one. I think it was Nibs who scored as well, wasn't it? Their captain for the day. But the one thing I will comment on is that they sort of tested the water 3 or 4 times before actually scoring. Like they tested one, it went a little bit wide, it went to the stand, it went the other way, and then they got the goal from it. So from a defensive standpoint, you sort of need to identify that, hang on, they're trying to test the defence and see where the holes are. And unfortunately, we didn't quite cotton onto it as quickly as we could have done, and they found the way through. No complaints from me. It were a very well taken goal, and I think their performance towards the end of the first half, did warrant a goal from them. Granted, maybe it could have been maybe even 2-1 to us. Like Will mentioned, the absolute fiasco at the other end where we took about 7 shots and it was 7 blocks, one after another. It was like, just someone move your leg out the way just a little bit and let it go towards goal. But you know, that first half, like towards the end of the first half from Cambridge, was a very strong showing. And they took it into half time, probably the more confident team for the second half. But we're saying about Cambridge players that we go after. Can we not go after their number 15 who got a little too handsy with Freddie in the second half towards the end of the game? I don't know what he was trying to do. I don't know if we're trying to stroke his beard or what, but he got a little bit handsy with Freddie.
Yeah.
And it's one of the new things that I admire Ladipo for, that he's got a little bit of fire about him. So we've not really seen it before with him. Got a little bit of fire.
No,
it's
that's
like,
true.
Just get off me. So I admire him a little bit for that now.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your opinion on the starting 11, Will? Like I mentioned, the first half being all right, second half, again, just all right. I thought the midfield 3 really struggled to get into the game. Until about 5 minutes before Sadlier came off, I don't think he had much impact. He started to have impact. We pulled him off. I don't think grew into the game. And Lindsay, I suppose, was just Jamie and Lindsay, but it just didn't seem to work for the most part as that three.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was probably the right side to put out, just because we want to rotate these players, we want to give them minutes, and test them against a really good Cambridge side and give them an opportunity to stake their claim to play in this League One side. As you say, for me, the midfield three didn't really work, especially out of possession. I felt that we were a little bit exposed in some areas, and there were some parts of the midfield that probably didn't defend as well as they could have, and that gave Cambridge a little bit more space to work in behind the midfield line and between that defensive line, and causes a lot of issues in the end. Overall, we fetched on Chio and Mikel Miller, I think, just to try and give us a little bit more pace out wide. Not absolutely certain that works, but overall, I think there was some players on the night that had decent games. I don't think Grigg had a particularly bad game, or Coyote. Harding as well had a really good game. Victor, obviously, sure we'll talk about Victor and his heroics, but did all right on the night as well. Some less so, but yeah, good run out for him, and obviously 3 points, a win, and just have it that, and to get through to the next round's amazing, isn't it? And also, just in tribute to Meatloaf, 3 penalty shootouts now, and we've won 2 out of 3, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
It's not. Absolutely not. I'm going to mention a Dauphin, Mick, just because of that shot. It went so far off. It was just brilliant. It's a bad shot when you just hear people burst out laughing. One of them just burst out laughing. But in a decent enough game today, he didn't sort of stand up and scream, "I should start," but he's just showing that consistency of performance where he's just doing pretty well in every team he plays in.
The thing about Dauphin is he's not the type of player that's going to absolutely stand out. That's not his job, is it? He's not a Dan Barlasser. He does the dirty stuff, and he does the dirty stuff really, really well. And he's one of those players, like I said, that just he doesn't really stand out, but he does the job really, really well. So yeah, it's a bit of a difficult situation for him. I mean, that was a bit of a lash, wasn't it, to say the least. But yeah, we all know what he can do, when he does strike it. So you can't fault him for that. For me, one of the issues for me on Tuesday night was down that left hand side. I said to you at the time, Matt, I felt like Joe Mattock was playing as though he were playing in a back four. As a centre half in a back four, he was leaving far too much room. When Bowler pushed forward, Joe Mattock wasn't giving him any option, any cover. Sorry. So as soon as the ball passed Bowler, he was left high and dry. So I think that was an issue for us. But yeah, other than that, it was a decent performance by everybody. I thought just about. I'm really disappointed in Grigg getting taken off. I don't really get that. I don't understand. He's not played a full game for us yet, and he's not that old. It's not as though he's struggling for fitness. I don't really get that. I don't really get what the situation is there with it at all. Anyway, that's just me.
Well, you mentioned that. Josh Smith saw a bit of criticism towards Grigg after Tuesday, which I thought he thinks was personally harsh to take him off, as him and Cody were linking up well, which I think is a fair point. Philip Rawlinson agrees with Josh. I agree that thought Grigg was putting a shift in. Very surprised to see him come off, unless he had taken a knock. Danny, only a few weeks ago you were talking about giving Grigg 90 minutes. I think it may be a good sign that he's got a good chance of starting Saturday. Whichever one you're going to start Saturday, take off a little bit earlier to then go into Saturday. But am I just being a bit optimistic and a bit, just thinking too much into it?
I mean, yeah, we could be doing that. I think that's certainly why we took him off early. He came off early against Cheltenham, because he came off for Ladipo, didn't he? Yeah. So I think we could be starting him against Crewe, because he didn't start up front against Crewe in the Pizza Cup, so it might be a new challenge for them. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I just want him to play 90 minutes. Just give him 90 minutes and just see how he does. If he plays shocking towards the last 20 minutes, then fine. You know what I mean? We've learned a lesson. He can't play a full 90 minutes, but we don't know that until he actually does. You know, so just give him a full 90 against Crewe or Doncaster or whoever, and let's just see how he does. But I don't think we will give him a full 90 probably in February because we don't have a week spare. We don't have a Saturday. It's just Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. So it might end up being March, but March is probably going to get busy with the Pizza Cup semi-final and whatever else to come, the game against Lincoln to come. But just please give Grigg a full 90. He's shown he's capable of pulling a ball back and assisting. We know he can score goals from any sort of angle because he's proven that against Wimbledon and against other teams where he's just scored in the 6-yard box. Just give him a full 90 minutes. He plays well alongside Smith. He plays well alongside KO'd. He plays okay against Freddie, with Freddie, even though they're two very similar positional strikers. Just give him a full 90. Let's see how he does. I don't quite understand the criticism towards him because, like I say, I thought he put in a very good shift on Tuesday whilst he was on the pitch. So that's my headspace on it. Anyway.
Yeah. It's also a very good shift compared to what we saw on Saturday as well. If you compare what you've just seen on Saturday to what will be put in on Tuesday, I don't see how you can criticise Will Grigg, really. It's like...
Then again, Freddie did put in a very good shift on Tuesday.
For the most part, I did find myself shouting at him once for being a bit lazy. He did better. The bar was quite low. He did better. JJ, though, Will, I thought it was very good in the air. I think we don't often see this, because it's often with Michael Smith sometimes. But he won the vast majority of headers against, again, a Cambridge side who we know can be dominant in the air.
Yeah, I know Josh Smith spoke about the link-up play between Grigg and Coyote, and I thought that Coyote won everything in the air, and obviously Grigg is that really intelligent player to know where to be when that ball comes through. So I thought they linked up really well on Tuesday. Obviously a work in progress, but good to see that we've got two strikers on the pitch that, you know, happy to play at any point, really. And that's the strength of this squad, isn't it? You know, at any point, any of these players could be needed, and you know, they're staking claims, which is good. Yeah,
absolutely. We have Ray Smedley chucking in a fun transfer rumour, which I'm confident is not true, but we're going to talk. Well, I'm going to talk about it. I should mention it. Lyle Taylor to the Millers, Freddie Ladapo the other way. I would be amazed if Lyle Taylor comes back down to this level. And he's at Forest, isn't he? Lyle Taylor?
Yes, for the moment.
Why would Forest... Where they Forest to go, why would they take Freddie? Why would they bother with Freddie? They can do better than Freddie, can't they?
Just to counter that, I've heard that Lyle Taylor's going on loan to Birmingham. Just to counter that. So, and to be fair, we haven't had any bids for Freddie at all. And we've even said in the paper that if we get a late bid or loan option for Freddie, we're probably not going to take it, because if it comes in on the day, we don't really have enough time to get somebody else in. So if somebody comes in, oh, there you go, Taylor just signed for Birmingham today, so that rumour was a load of twaddle about Ladipo going to Forest. But if Ladipo gets a late bid on the day, like after 5 o'clock, we're just going to turn it down, no matter how much it is, because we can't really bring anybody else in within that time frame. But as it stands, there's no bids for Ladipo. There's no bids for any of our other players. And apparently we're after 2 people with attacking minds now, preferably a striker and an attacking midfielder, 1 loan, 1 permanent. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes, because Warren said he's happy if it happens, like he's over the moon if it happens, but if it doesn't happen, but we've kept our group together with no departures, then he's equally as happy. So we'll wait and see with that one.
Yeah, we'll come back to transfers in a minute. I'll throw some hypotheticals out later. I've got some. The game, they were happy for penalties, weren't they, Mick? From probably 65, 70 minutes, they were extremely happy with penalties. I was surprised a little bit with that. I thought they might go for it a little more. I know they maybe don't have the full strength 11, but neither did we on pitch. I know it's towards the end, I suppose.
Yeah, because you always felt that they were capable of sneaking a goal. There was no doubt about that. You know, they've got the ability and they've got So it was a bit of a surprise, to be honest with you. But yeah, they were happy with that. That's fine. As it turned out, that was the wrong decision, weren't it? But you never know, I guess. You never know. So I mean, just and I know I always talk about this. Just a bit of a quick comment on the ref, who, for me, we talked about the foul that Griggy did. You know, the irony being that 2 minutes or 5 minutes earlier, he'd given a foul on the goalkeeper when the defender had knocked the goalkeeper over. So that was that part of it. And then the last 10 minutes, you say we bang average throughout the game, but then the last 10 minutes, what an absolute shambles. Yeah. He kind of lost his ability to see anything, didn't he? Anyway. I know. I'll shut up because I know I'm always critical, and I shouldn't be. I know it's a tough job, but come on.
Okay.
Shut up, mate. Shut up, mate.
And then we move on to the third, like Danny's mentioned, the third penalty shootout this season. I think there's many penalty shootouts this season. We're having like the last 4 combined or something ridiculous. Like, it might be more seasons than that. We've not had a penalty shootout since the Pizza Trophy game a few years ago, which wasn't pizza back then. But Danny, we'll talk about victory in a minute. It was an excellent penalty shootout, much like the QPR game. I know there were a few dodgy ones, but an excellent penalty shootout. Everybody took really good penalties, including their keeper.
Yeah, yeah, their goalkeeper really surprised me because I was sat with Reece Callaghan, who I'm sure is watching, who might be in the comments, but we didn't actually know who was taking their 6th penalty. It's like, nobody's moves, who's taking it? And then the keeper just like walks in, and it's like, wait, they're using the keeper in the 6th one already. And to be fair, it was probably a goal kick between the sticks which got him his penalty. Because it was very, very high in the goal. But, you know, you sort of saw the goalkeeper's union between Victor and Mitov. And yeah, there were good penalties all round. The only one that was a little bit squeaky was Ferguson's, the first one, because it sort of just squeezed in under the keeper, but still a very low and and hard penalty. And they were all really good. The only really poor one was, well, probably Mays, because Victor saved it. It was at a very savable height. But you have to have the knowledge to be able to save it, and Victor does. And just to end on this now, I think Victor's played mind games with their team. Because hear me out, right? Because he kept diving to his right all the time, and they just kept putting it to his left-hand side. But then as soon as he switched it, he saved it. So I think he's played mind games that he's going to go that way. Then he switched it and saved it. And so yeah, that's my thinking. I think he's played them personally.
But he waited to the 7th one.
Yeah. Yeah, he waited to give me personally a heart attack and then save the 7th one. So yeah.
I'm all on board for goalkeepers taking penalties. I just love it. I think it's about. I'm all for goalkeeping nonsense. And that's right up there with goalkeeping nonsense. Dan, Will, Victor, I just love it. He gets involved more and more every week, and here we go. Won another penalty shootout for us.
I mean, what more can that guy do to instill himself into Rotherham fans' hearts? Like, I don't think there's much more he can do. And also, lovely touch at the end for him to come and hand his gloves over to some young fans. Love that. And I know he does that quite a lot. So kudos to Victor. I'm not surprised that he's done it again. There we go. I mean, what more can you say? He's brilliant. And what an amazing place to be in at the moment, to have 2 really, really good keepers in Vickers and obviously Johansson as well. Both vying for that top spot. Probably the best that it's been for a long time at Rotherham.
Yeah, definitely right. I think that's if you watch about the QPR shootout, Victor is clearly better at penalty saves than Vickers. Vickers is probably an all-round better keeper, but Victor's penalty saves. When the QPR game, Vickers were going before player would kick ball sometimes. Every penalty on Tuesday, Victor were trying to wait as late as possible. And I think that's how you win penalty shootouts. And, well, it turned out to be the case, didn't it, mate?
Yeah, it did. I mean, to be fair, at QPR, Vickers were diving to play left centre circle, walking to the box, weren't he? With that early. But yeah, it's great. It's great to be in that position to have two keepers of that quality. Josh Vickers is an experienced goalkeeper and a good experienced goalkeeper. So, Victor is an excellent keeper, but inexperienced, and he will learn. Again, it's that sort of Smithy, JJ situation, isn't it? Grigg, JJ situation. Somebody with, the younger player learning off somebody with that experience. So it's great position to be in.
It is, yeah. And like I mentioned, it puts us through to the same round, furthest we've gone in the competition since 2008, 2009. One step away from getting to Wembley like we did in '96, which should be very, very special. A comment here, Darren Clark, come on, Millers, let's have a home tie, either Hartlepool or Sutton, and then we get in the final. Both ourselves and Wiggins could be going for the double. He asked what we think we'll do with Smith in the summer. Will he leave or will he stay? We'll maybe cover that later on. For me, Danny, the dream is us and Wigan at the final. I think if I'm an EFL representative, I want Rotherham and Wigan in the final as well, because it's one of their showpiece occasions with two of the best teams in the lower two divisions. All right, there might not be 90,000 fans there, but as a spectacle, it should be the best game that's left.
Yeah, I think so. I think to have two of the top teams in League One in a final of a cup competition is a very good advert for lower EFL leagues. But if we're talking about potential winning games, I would prefer Hartlepool in the final, because we've got a sort of semi-good record against teams in lower leagues than us. Look at Port Vale and Stockport, and Bromley as well. But Hartlepool seem to have a weird magic to them, where they've beaten 3 League One teams in the competition so far. So let's make it a fourth one, get rid of Wigan, and then we can put our best team out and then try and beat Hartlepool. And if we don't, we don't. Fair play to Hartlepool in the final if they get there. But I want Hartlepool in the final because to me it's the most winnable one. I don't want Sutton away because it's south side of London, and I don't want it because we won't get any fans there for Sutton United. But yeah, I hope we at least get to the final. That's my hope. At Wembley again. Why not?
It is London. I said we're an all northern semi-final. It's not an all northern semi-final. Sutton and South. Ignore what I said at the start of the show.
Harrogate had to go and ruin it, didn't they?
London. Yeah. But the Sutton story is a very good one as well, isn't it? I know we don't want to play them away on Tuesday night, but it's a great story for them to come to non-league and to make. This is their first or second season back in the Football League. First season?
First.
Yeah. A great story.
Have they been in before?
I think I'm sure Sutton have. I might be wrong. I thought Sutton had. If you don't think they have, they probably haven't, because you've seen more seasons than I have.
Oh yeah, and of course I'm obviously renowned for my memory, aren't I?
That's true.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Sutton about 15 years ago or so in a League Two table. I think might be a bit more than that, but I'm not sure. I think they have been in the Football League before, but it were a fair bit ago.
Either way, no matter who gets to the final on the upside, at least they'll only have to open half of Wembley, won't they? In fact, they probably wouldn't even have to open half of it. They could just open one end and let everybody mix together, because there's not going to be enough, supporters to fill it. It's not going to be a Coventry Portsmouth final, is it? Where they filled it.
No. They've never been in the Football League. That's that.
Told you.
That's the most they've got to. Steve Cooper likes Sutton away, a new ground for him. Yes, but it's a good old trek.
Yeah, I think that's the one argument for it.
Yeah. Well, where do you sit on this? Do you want Wigan in the semis, and then whoever gets through is a huge favourite for the final? Do you care?
I do care, which is surprising because we're talking about the pointless pizza trophy here. For me, I'm thinking strategically. I want to screw Wigan up as much as possible. So let's send Wigan down to Sutton on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, depending on on Sky and what they want to do with us. I'm sure they'll try and make it as difficult as possible for fans to get anywhere they need to. For me, I'd love to go to Hartlepool away. It's not a million miles away for us and a new ground for me, so I'd be quite happy with Hartlepool away. And then in terms of the final, I don't really care who we get, because I think on the day it just comes down to that one game, doesn't it? If it's Wigan, if it's Sutton, if it's Hartlepool, or whoever it is, it's a level playing field.
Yeah, and I've been saying this for years, but give me Paul Warne as manager for a one-off occasion. I just trust him to get the players up for a game, and he will get them up for a final. Mick, you're the only one of us that remembers 96, 2008, 2009, and this one all going into semi-finals, which 96 was successful. I'm going to ask you a question. I know what the answer is going to be, but I want to do memories of the 96 area final. I know it was two-legged back then. But how does this compare?
Coldest night ever in the history of Carlisle, wasn't it? Just horrible, absolutely horrible. But obviously, the euphoria of getting through at the end of that was just enormous. It was our first ever visit to Wembley Stadium. It was just immense. Now for us, for sort of supporters who've been following the club for the last 10, 12 years. Going to Wembley is just like it's a biannual occurrence, isn't it? It's not. It's kind of lost its shine a little bit. So yeah, listen, we've got as good a chance, probably the best chance out of the 4 remaining sides in this. Possibly, I think we just picked Wigan. I think we're a better side than Wigan personally. That's my view. Obviously, I'm biased. So. It's just money in it. If we can get to a final and win it, it's the coffers for the club are going to get swelled a little bit more than they are already, aren't they? So, yeah, I'm still struggling to muster a great deal of enthusiasm for the tournament. I'm sorry.
Papa John will not be happy to hear that, Mick. He will not.
Listen, I'm not the RUFC, am I? So I didn't win a day out with Ellison Barlasser and a lifetime supply of pizza. So maybe that's why I'm bitter. I don't know.
Yeah. Philip Rollinson, the Conga in the snow at Carlisle in 96. Yeah. If you want to know more about the 96 run on our iTunes or Spotify or YouTube, you can hear about the run and the final itself from Trevor Berry, Andy Roscoe, and Neil Richardson. That is up there, and it's really good. It's really, really good to listening to their stories from 96. I wasn't there; I didn't watch it, so it's good learning experience for me about our history of this competition, our successful history, one of the few successful histories of the competition. So go back and listen to it because it's great, and I really enjoyed it. Just speaking to
that's a great listen. That is that listening to those three bouncing off each other, even after all these years, was just great to sit back and listen to. Yeah,
absolutely. And hopefully we'll get those three back on at some point in the summer to learn a bit more about their Rotherham story as well as some other players as well. I think I'm done on the pizza trophies for now. My excitement is leveling off till the next round. Anything else anybody wants to touch on?
I have one, if that's okay. And to be fair, it's probably absolutely pointless because there'll be no Cambridge fans watching this. But for the Cambridge fans that made the journey on Tuesday night, you made an absolute racket for most at night. And that's not an easy journey to make. So congratulations.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how many went up? Was it 133 from them?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. The funniest thing that I saw was there were two fans near where Rotherham fans were, and they took the shirts off. It's like, lads, how much have you had on the coach coming up? It was funny though. I mean, they've just followed the team away and they've had a good laugh about it. Unfortunately, they lost, but they have done very well and made a fair bit of racket, like Will says. So, fair play to them. Fair play to all 133 who made the trip. I didn't count that many because me and Reece played the counting game with the away fans. But anyway, we counted about 70 odd, so I think we need to have our eyes checked.
Yeah. Well, they brought more on a cold Tuesday night for a pointless trophy than other teams sometimes do for a Saturday afternoon. So
yeah, that's true.
Seriously, hats off to them.
It's becoming a bit of a Cambridge love in this, isn't it? every time we play them.
We'll have to get that.
I know. You never know that something might. It's not going to happen, is it?
Not unless they make playoffs, which is unlikely. And
Let's not talk about
next
that.
season. Hopefully not next season. We'll play in season after in Championship. Let's move forward, but because it's back to the league action, back to the serious business. The fun's over. Let's get on with the stressful part of life. Crewe Alexandra, Danny, again, you were there a month ago. Less than a month ago, the same month. Excited to go to Crewe again.
No, not particularly. I mean, thankfully, there'll be a lot more of us there than when in the Pizza Cup, because there was only about 150-ish that went there last time. Now there's 1,100 going, so there's a few more of us. But yeah, it should be a good away trip in terms of the journey down there. And I hope we put in a similar performance to what we did in the Pizza Cup, where we played very well against them. They are going to try and match us up because David Artella said he knows how we play, and they're going to try and match it up with their formation. So it should be a good battling game. But I'm hoping more of a Pizza Cup performance level-wise, rather than when we played them at New York and fell foul of a last-minute penalty. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, because then my heart will officially conk out, because I can't deal with penalties anymore this season. If they're for us, that's fine, but against us, I can't cope anymore. But yeah, no, should be a good away day. So looking forward to it, despite it being Crewe, cold, and in a little shed stand compared to the really big one that's on the other side of the pitch. But anyway,
it's not a bad game when there's fans in it. It's not a pretty good away end, to be fair. Crewe, it's small and horrible, but because there's so many packed in it, it can be quite good.
Yeah, it's not as good when there's just a big empty red wall just in front of you.
Yeah,
that's not quite as good.
No. We have a late visitor. Benjamin's back with us. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
How's the wrist?
It's all right. It's all right.
Do we get a backstory to the wrist thing? Because it sounds a bit grim.
No, it's not that bad. It's not. What do you want me to tell you what happened?
Yeah,
that's well nice. Yeah, go on for
it. Story time with Ben.
Well, yeah, basically, obviously, I play American football, and I caught the ball. So I caught it like that, and then you hold it like this.
It's just great for audio listeners.
You use your words.
You hold it like I don't know how to explain it.
Like a newborn child.
A newborn baby, yeah. And basically, I got hit. Someone put the shoulder into my wrist very powerfully, and it hurt.
Ben has got the video, so if anyone wants to watch the video of Ben hurting his hand, it's quite funny.
It's not.
Yeah, it is. I'll tweet it out later.
It's not funny at all.
Quite funny. What's the best bit is, Ben, you've edited it, and you can clearly tell you've edited it because it cuts off just where anybody else would be really screaming in pain. I can tell you've edited the video.
You know what? It's not even that injured. They said it was just sprained, but yeah, it was bruised, but it's fine now. So it's fine.
Bro. Okay. Anything else you want to tell us, Ben, before we go back to Rotherham United?
Not really.
Cool. Tell us about your excitement for the Pizza Trophy, but you missed all the Pizza Trophy action. So very briefly, tell us about your excitement one game from Wembley.
You know what? Like I wasn't a couple of weeks ago, but actually I'm quite excited now because I want to go to Wembley.
It's just round corner for you, isn't it? That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it literally is. Yeah, it's like a tube away. But no, I genuinely want to go Wembley again. It won't. If the thing is, if we go to Wembley and then we lose, it's not really like, you know what I mean. It's not. I'm not going to be heartbroken.
It's not a playoff final loss, is it?
No, as a fan, but as a player, I mean, it's just not really what you want, is it? I saw it. What's funny is I saw it go to extra time on my phone, and that's the last thing that you want, in it. Just more playing time, but unnecessary.
We didn't get extra time, did we?
Did you not? Oh,
six penalties.
Yeah, well, whatever then. Halfway went to extra time. I just saw a notification on my phone. So, but whatever. Anyways,
Ben weren't paying his £10 for iFollow on a Tuesday night, were you?
No, I wasn't.
Anyway,
I tried
moving
to find
forward.
some place to stream, but I couldn't.
Okay, you could have paid, but you didn't. Moving on. Well, what can we expect from Crewe? The last time we played them at home, because Pete's Trophies are normally, well, sort of ignore their performance a little bit. They were poor. They were a poor side, but they hung in. They did what they needed to and snuck a point at the end. What, do you think we'll be seeing the same kind of Crewe?
In a word, no. I think it's going to be. They've had a very tumultuous couple of weeks, to say the least. So just this week, they've lost, I think, 3 centre backs. They've lost Callum McFadzean today to Moneybags Wrexham, which means the back three will be completely. I think the highest age is 19 years old. Their one left wing back, which will be of interest to Chio Ogbene, is injured. So they've been playing Mika Mandron at left wing back, who's obviously their main striker.
What's it scored against, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got a few issues, but yeah, as Danny mentioned, they will probably match us up and go 3-5-2 and try and play through the thirds. I'd expect to probably see Chris Porter and Long up top, and they've just signed a striker today. I think his name is Basala, who I would imagine will probably go into the side at some point, either off the bench or maybe from the start. So he is a player that they've signed from Fortuna. Fortuna in somewhere in Holland, basically.
Fortuna Sittard.
That's the one. And he is absolutely rapid, I am told, but without any end product. So he could be an interesting watch for tomorrow. But if we can get that ball down the wings, nice and quick, and try and test those young centre backs, I think we're going to have a lot of joy. Crewe are the side that concede the most chances in open play and from set pieces. So we are going to get chances in the game. We're just going to make sure that we take them.
Yeah. David Artell knows what he's doing. He's pretty good tactically. So I think we can expect as tough a game as they can handle with the players and the problems they've got that Will just mentioned. Do you want to bring to attention, Danny, some of David Artell's comments?
I think David Artell's been on the wind-up personally because he's made some very snippy comments about Rotherham in his latest press conference, which is something I didn't expect from him. Is in reference to the Pizza Cup game that we played, and he's talking about us bringing on £500,000 players, and they're bringing on players who are just coming through the ranks, which is a bit all right, fair enough, but it then gets a bit snippy and says they brought on an international and £500,000 player, meaning Chio and Freddie, and he's saying we brought them on just to win the game. It's like, well, I'm sorry, David, we've got good players. What do you expect us to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he's trying to be on the wind-up and unsettle something or other, but comments like that really do play into Paul Warren's hands because he sort of just puts them on the wall and saying, look, he's saying we need the expensive ones and the international players to win game. Let's show them that's not the case and like rile them up to play him to the best of our players' abilities that we know that we've got. But I was just a bit surprised with his comments. It's like, I would have thought that, you drawing 1-1 with us, you would have said, let's try and keep the spirit of that game and such. But no, he went the snippy route, which is not the best to see from a former Rotherham player. But anyway, pin it up on the dressing room wall.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? I mean, to quote Ben, I mean, I'm not a football manager, but I have watched football for a long time. And my understanding was when you bring a substitute on, you bring them on with the intention of winning the game. Is that not the whole point of bringing on a substitute?
Is that not the whole point in playing the game?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a manager,
Just to sort of counteract that, if I may, I don't think there's too many issues with the actual comment. I would probably suggest that it's a manager that's under a lot of pressure at the moment, that's just had another week from hell where he's just having players ripped from underneath him left, right and centre. And that pressure's probably just got to him. It might have just been at the point in the interview where he's just withstood about 10 minutes of a battering from a journo asking where his players are going and when he's getting new ones in. So I don't read too much into it.
Stop being sensible, Will.
Although
Stop it. I know you're right, but
yeah.
And
Although
the
he
bottom
did
line
clash
is-
the Wednesday, the
is
Real
Miller,
Madrid
yeah.
of League One, which is concerned. I just didn't like.
Yeah.
But anyway, move on.
They're a bit like the Man United of League One, aren't they, Chef Wednesday?
Yeah, used to be all right.
Yeah, it used to be all right, and now it's a bit
Now not so.
your seventh.
Now a joke. Yeah.
full of those who can't be arsed.
That's definitely getting snipped.
Yep.
Listen, we're only 2 weeks away. I've got to start getting myself some. No, I am. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah.
Back on us, Mick, before you start upsetting some of the fans. Well, the same
no.
fans. For us, going back to let's compare it to the Saturday's team lineup. Not forget about Pete's Trophy lineup wise. What changes are you making? The big questions, Freddie, in it. The big question of last week is Freddie started, played 88 minutes. I can't find the right words to find how I want to describe him. So, what would you start on Saturday?
Are you asking me?
I'm not asking you to start
don't
Freddie.
think
Asking who would you start in place of him?
It's not a big question, is it? It's not a big question at all. Freddie doesn't play for me. He came on the other night and did all right, but he did all right. He didn't do anything to mitigate the way he performed the previous league game. We need to get our mojo back. It's starting to come back. There were some big improvements in some performances on Saturday, and that needs to continue. So he doesn't start now. It's Griggy and Smithy who are going to start for me, and the midfield again for me picks itself in Barlas, Wiles, and Rathbone. The only question is whether it's Miller or Ferguson out wide, and I don't really. I'd prefer to see Miller personally, just because I mean he was phenomenal when he came on the other night. For certainly for the first 10 or 15 minutes that he was on the pitch, he was absolutely phenomenal. It was unplayable. So, yeah, Freddie don't start for me. I don't think it's even a question. That's my view.
Does anybody think Freddie will start on Saturday?
He might do.
Well,
I'm not saying.
Does anybody think?
Yeah.
I know.
I don't think so. I think if we apply logic to it, he's taking Grigg off early so he can play him Saturday and give him Freddie run out in his place so he can still.
Took Grigg off early?
Yeah, but he still Grigg off at about, when was it, about 60 odd minutes ish.
Yeah.
Around then.
I heard my first boo for Freddie on Tuesday as well. If anybody else heard it, was only one or two people, but there was a couple of boos for Freddie on Tuesday when he came on. Hopefully that doesn't spread. Hopefully that's the end of it.
Can you blame him after Saturday?
I think Saturday may have been the final straw in terms of performance. I think that's not helped him at all. But this is the problem with putting transfer requests and you put a spotlight on your performance. And Freddie's played worse than that before than Saturday, but because the spotlight's on him, that's why people are noticing it much more than they were 6 months ago.
I think I said it 2 years ago, but whatever.
Yeah, I know, but it's more noticeable because he's under transfer requesting. Is what I mean. God, Ben, you can't help but be right, can you?
I just remember saying don't put enough effort in when he first signed, but maybe
nobody's disputing that. Nobody's disputing that at all.
Thank you.
What changes from last week in making men? Other than I think we all agree Freddie for Grigg is the swap we would all make. Is there any other ones that you would make from last Saturday?
I don't see why not. I thought we were better than in previous weeks, so I don't see why not. I think what keeper started yesterday or Tuesday?
Victor started on Tuesday.
Victor.
So he's unlikely to start.
See, that's the
very unlikely.
Yeah, see, that's the only one that I would maybe change because I do think Victor's a better keeper than Vickers. But obviously, I'm not in practice and I'm not the manager, as I say a lot. But yeah, I don't see why you should change anything except Freddie. I thought we played well. I think he's one of our best teams on paper. It depends if you want to go attacking, which I think we should, or defensively with Ferguson and Miller. I think they're the only. I think that's the change. When you want to go more defensive, you put Ferguson on, and when you want to go attacking, you put Miller on. But yeah, unchanged except Freddie for me.
Yeah, we saw Harding as the right of the three, Danny, and we saw Harding as the right wing back on Tuesday. Does Harding keep your place as the right centre back, or are you tempted to bring Reg back in because he did well on Tuesday? Where's your defence?
I think the best thing would be to keep Harding as the backup for Chio in case we want to switch it a bit more defensive towards later in the game. I can't really see that happening against Crewe after what Will said with the little bit of a crisis that's happening. So I'd personally go for the back three of Reg, Wood and Icky. Keep Miller on the left-hand side to go a bit strong attacking. Keep Chio on the right-hand side. But one thing I will mention is, what did everybody think to Chio playing slightly off the striker towards the end of the game on Tuesday? Because we had Ferguson on the left, Miller on the right, and then Chio was the slightly off striker, which is more of a position that he plays for Ireland. I thought that was a very interesting tactical switch from Warney, but it's also proved that Miller can play both wings, which is exceptional.
Yeah, that's true. I thought he did well. I thought he looked a threat. The thing is, when you're running at a defender, no matter where the defender is, if you're running with Chio's pace, the defender's going to be very concerned, to put it politely. The problem with Chio is he ain't got any shooting boots. I know he scored that stunner at Gillingham, but other than that, it takes 1 in 6, something like that. His shooting's poor compared to the rest of his game anyway. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, pace causes issues wherever you are on pitch. So I thought he caused issues in that sense. I don't think it's a natural position for him, just as of yet. I think he's more of a winger that likes to get chalk on his boots, isn't he? But that could be something that we develop moving forward. I read earlier that he's keen to sign a new contract, which is great for both parties, I think. So if we can get that done, then we can start to explore that potentially.
Yeah, that is exciting news. It is positive signs. So let's do some score predictions. Danny, let's start with you for Saturday. Me and Mick went 4-0 on Tuesday on last week. And both wrong.
That went well, didn't it?
Danny
mentioned
that you went 1-0 and we won 1-0.
Yeah, well, I spoke to the Crewe podcast, the Railway Men podcast about this, and I mentioned about you two going 4 and 5-0, and then me being right with 1-0. So I sort of stuck with a steady 1-0 for us on their podcast, but if we line up correctly against their sort of in crisis back line, it could be upwards of 3 potentially, but I'm going to stick with the 1-0 just to be a bit conservative about it.
Okay, I like your style. Benjamin?
I'm going to go 1-0. I don't see us scoring 2 in a game at the minute, unfortunately.
Okay, fair enough. Will?
I'm going to be a little bit more confident than you guys. I'm going 4-0.
I like it.
Oh, Christ.
I'm not going that confident. I'm going to go 3-1. With their problems that Will's just mentioned, if they play, if those problems surface, we could be 2 up inside 10 minutes. If they really start to struggle early on, it could get. That's my thought. So, Mick, I assume you're going to go for a 2-0 loss.
Obviously, yeah. Yeah, no. I think the first thing we should do, hopefully, we get the kick-off and we should kick the ball straight out for a goal kick. If they start playing it out front back like they did in that pizza trophy, happy days, because they are going to get a battering. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Bearing in mind that what Will's just pointed out there about the inexperience of the back 3 or 4 or whatever it is that they play. Whatever system they play, if they start with that game, then they're going to be in big trouble. And we will. I'm going to go 4-0. I think we're going to get our shooting boots back on, and I think we're going to be back on the bike on Saturday.
You've gone 4-0 predictions in 2 games in a row.
I know.
Look at the
confidence. So far, I'm 3 goals down in 1 game, so it's not looking good, is it? Just one win.
So if we win 7-0
that's all I need. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Russ Bailey on Facebook thinks it's going to be 3-0 Grigg with 2. Woody is 1. I think Woody is due a goal, to be fair. Stop pressing the goalkeeper and start scoring goals, Woody. Come on. briefly touch on the transfer market news. There is no news really, other than the news that Danny mentioned earlier. We are after a striker, who we all still assume is Georgie Kelly, because the Georgie Kelly to Plymouth rumours have died down.
Still follows on Twitter, by the way. I've been checking. He still follows us.
And also an attacking-minded midfielder. Now, I'm going to float one out there to you, and I'm probably going to be way off here, but I am floating this out a little bit because Lewis Wing still at Sheffield Wednesday. They now have 8 loanees, which they can only have 5 in a matchday squad.
If you say we're going to sign Lewis Wing,
I'd have him back in a heartbeat.
There are rumours that they're looking to cut his loan short because it's been a disaster. If he becomes available, and I'm not convinced Paul Warne would, but if he became available, which is looking impossible, would you take Lewis Wing back as an attacking-minded midfielder?
Yes.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the beauty of re-signing him on loan and him scoring the winner at Swillsborough? Can you just imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be probably the sweetest thing I would ever see in my life. I mean, my answer would be no, I wouldn't take him back at all. But,
Why?
But just on that, just for that thought alone, I'm now beginning to have second thoughts.
Why wouldn't you take him back?
Because of his work rate.
It was best player on pitch last year. It was best player on pitch last year for us, in my opinion.
It were in his own head, yeah. But
it was my head, no.
It was excellent time last year.
But anyway, let's just start. Let's just don't stop because I'm dreaming. I'm just seeing that 25-yard top corner screamer at Leppings Lane.
Darren Garner-esque.
93rd minute. And then
you can actually picture Matt Goodwin on commentary going, Rotherham launch a final attack in the 95th minute, Wings out in space, Lewis Wing, bang, top corner, delirium. Yeah. But thinking about it rationally, yes, he was a very good player for us last year. Warney, I think, got the best out of him during his short loan spell. However, based on how he's been in the midfield setup at Sheffield Wednesday, it's not a risk I would personally take. Granted, Darren Moore has been playing him out of position when he has played. So, I don't know, maybe Warney could get the best out of him, but he would have to take up a similar sort of position that Sadly would occupy, that like advanced midfielder role. So it'd like be an opposite switch to Ball after being your quarterback role. So I personally wouldn't go for it. But purely for the potential scenes at Hillsborough, maybe.
Yeah, it may mean Sadler leaving. If you bring somebody like that in, I can't see us keeping Sadler as well. I don't see how you would get Wiles, Sadler, and a third attacking midfielder in the squad, in the team. Will, it's exciting to think about, but would you?
Are we still talking about Lewis Wing?
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that ship has well and truly sailed. Just from his comments, you want players that want to come in and buy into what you're doing. He's obviously not going to do that. And to be fair, I agree with Ben. He were brilliant last year for us, but sometimes you just have to move on. And I don't think he's what we need right now, to be honest.
Agreed.
No. I do agree. Fun thought exercise.
Cheryl Stone's pretty well, to be fair.
She has, to be fair. That's what, we spent 5 minutes talking about it.
Pretty succinct, that, Cheryl.
Josh Smith says there's an article come out saying that Kelly's signed for us today. Now, what
Where's
we're going
this?
to do is fill for a minute or two. Josh,
is it from Football League World?
If it's Football League, here we go. We will investigate that while we chat for a minute. I'll send Danny off, our roaming correspondent, to investigate that. Harvey Kelwick on the Lewis Wing. Harvey Kelwick, don't think we would take Bang Bang, especially when he said he has done his thing at Rotherham. Can't see him coming back. Yeah, I think that's a key part of it. His comments after were more than the actual way he played, to be honest with you. Any other transfer rumours that we can see? Will, have you heard anybody? I've not seen many names other than Kelly. I've not seen anybody.
There was one. I have just seen the article that they're on about. It's from the Irish Independent. Latest, George Kelly signs for League One side Rotherham United. So potentially, that could be our permanent transfer, offering him a contract. But anyway, we'll wait and see until it's announced by the club, because it's never official until the club say so. We have to take that as low. But the other one that I've seen as a potential was Sam Cosgrove. Now, I was shared this tweet, this rumour in confidence from Russ Vernon, with the mindset of it's meant to be super secret information, but apparently it's not, because it's all over Twitter. And everyone says apparently Sam Cosgrove is going to Rotherham United. He's apparently had a bust up with Shrewsbury's manager. So Birmingham wants to cut his loan short, but will still keep him out there developing. So apparently it would be us. But if the George Kelly thing is true from the Irish Independent, which, it's the Irish Independent, they wouldn't really be clickbaity, would they? But
it's also on there from Republic of Ireland player tracker, the Donegal Daily, independent sport that you've just said. So it's come on. It's on there from 3 or 4 different news outlets. Breaking news.
Yes,
breaking news.
New York Talk. Breaking news.
Yeah, from the Independent Eye, the key comment is the Donegal native has decided that his future lies with Bruce Jason Rotherham and will put pen to paper on Friday after he passes a medical, which you assume is more often not a formal.
So he hasn't signed. We've got him here for a medical. Okay.
Yeah. What are you saying, Ben?
So he's got a good goal scoring record
in Ireland.
I know it's Sunday League level, but it's still not like.
It's not that bad. But yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Do you remember us saying a bit ago about getting Kelly on the podcast just to be, just because? Now, with Ben's comments about Irish League being Sunday League, there you go, Ben. You can pitch that question to him. That's all yours.
Goodness. Yeah. The Sam Cosgrove link was there in the summer, and then obviously went to Shrewsbury, and he's done nothing really. So I would be leaning towards not. I don't know.
The reports I've seen of Cosgrove aren't exactly flattering. I've had a few conversations with John, who comes on here a few times, the Birmingham fan of social media, and they were not impressed with him at all.
I guess you have to caveat it with the fact that Shrewsbury are a pretty poor side that are playing long ball football, and he's not really getting that many opportunities to score goals as well. So in a different side, it could be different. But Danny, from what you're saying, if he's had an argument with the manager, does that sound like the sort of person that we'd want to bring into our culture?
That is exactly what I thought. Yeah,
you've got to Steve
Woodland's suggestion.
South Korean League One.
That'll do me.
Yeah,
I thought it would go to Wednesday, but anyway.
No, they can't afford him.
Yeah, Wednesday very good. No, that's 12. Yeah. Any more nonsense? We've gone a bit long. If you are listening on Friday and Georgie Kelly has already signed, I think it's a great signing / a bad signing / I'm not sure. Just delete that appropriate.
I never thought he were going to sign. And now we're absolutely positive he were going to sign. So, again.
I mean, in all honesty, I thought cold water had been poured on that. And I thought there was so much contradiction from, like, he's saying he signed it, and Paul Warne said he's not signed, and then conveniently placed articles here and there. I thought, deal will have gone. But if this is correct and he's come for a medical, and the Independent and this Donegal information place are jumping the gun and saying he signed for Rotherham but pending a medical, I mean, the deflection from Paul Warne is something just short of a masterstroke to put people off the scent of George Kelly. But I mean, if he has signed and it gets made official after his medical, just after the weekend, then happy days, best of luck to him. If it all turns out to be bunkum, then the media on Twitter needs to take a long hard look at itself.
Yes. The difference is it's not Football League World. That's the difference.
Yeah.
We will see. Anything else anybody likes? 3 seconds.
No, good. All good.
Superb. So thank you all for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, go over to YouTube and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well. We would very much appreciate that. Give the video a thumbs up as well. If you're on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening audio, that's not a word, but I'm going to use it. Make sure you've subscribed, follow us on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating if you can as well. As we mentioned at the start of the show, we've got across the bottom of the YouTube channel, we've got the contact numbers for mine, for Save for Samaritans. If you are in a bad place, if you think you need help, please reach out for it. We all back it. We all think it's really important that you all are doing all right. And it's all right not to be all right, but reach out for help if you ever need it. And there's also pinned to our Twitter account. If you go on our Twitter page, these same contacts will be up there for the next few days as well. Danny, it's a pleasure to have you with us, and I'm sure in the next episode we will have some transfer stuff to talk about, which is exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we've not had breaking news on the podcast before whilst it's been happening. So, yeah, we have gone a little bit long, but it's all worth it end of the day, isn't it?
It is. Until you don't sign,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben, you have been with us for 20 minutes. You've said about 5 words. That's what I expect, and that's why I love you.
Thank you.
I hope your wrist... I'm going to say I hope it hurts. I'm not going to say that. I hope your wrist gets better.
Thank you. Me
All
too,
right,
to be fair.
Will, it's been a pleasure to have you with us, mate. I love it when you're here.
Thank you very much. Just want to say a massive thank you to Russ Bailey as well. I think he compared me to Richard Keys earlier, so I'll take that.
He did, that's all. Brilliant. And Mick, I'm not sure they're comparing you to, but I'm sure it's something great.
Some big fat bald bloke in the corner, innit? You know what I mean? Whatever.
I can put you in the middle if you want.
No. I'll settle for the corner, I don't mind.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure, everybody. Keep an eye on the YouTube for Danny's vlog, which will be out, which we haven't watched the Cambridge one. That's up. That's a really good one. And then obviously the one will be up on Sunday. We will be up on Sunday night to review the Crewe game. Look ahead to another South Yorkshire derby, first one in a while. Thank you all, and we'll see you very, very soon. Freddie's on one-on-one. Can Freddie turn his shoot? Can Freddie go shot? Apologies to the neighbours.